From MTN Sports, this is Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Welcome in to the Bobcat Insider. The top-seeded Bobcats are coming off yet another win, a quarterfinal win over a Big Sky foe in Idaho. I'm Grace Lawrence, and with Keaton Galogly on the road at men's basketball, I'm joined by Scripps Sports announcer and the former defensive coordinator at both Montana and Montana State, Ty Gregorak. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Grace. How you doing?
I'm doing great. What stood out most to you in that Idaho game?
Well, I was excited to see, with them getting some health back and some of their dudes back, if it was going to be a better game. Early on, it looked like it was going to be just that. I mean, it was kind of fun. I mean, back and forth exchange, some really good stuff, and then ultimately the takeaways for the Bobcat defense, the turnovers by the Idaho offense really shifted the game, and next thing you know, it looked like a lot of the other games that the Cats have been in where it was close early and then they just ran away with it.
Yeah, to capitalize on those turnovers, for Adam Jones to have 4 touchdowns. I mean, you've covered him since the beginning of the breakout campaign. What stands out most with Adam?
He's just smooth. I say that he's smooth, but he's tough. I mean, he still runs between the tackles like a real dude. I mean, we've talked about the stable of running backs now throughout, since August. It's crazy to think that we're still, from an August week 0 in Albuquerque to now in the middle of December, just an unbelievable year for a freshman. It's just been an unbelievable addition to an already incredible stable of running backs. And you saw, it's a volatile position. And when one of those guys go down, 2 of those guys are not available, and he just picked up the flag and had an unbelievable game in my mind.
Yeah, well, we'll learn more about Adam's performance, Tommy's performance, and now the semifinal match against South Dakota. Talking with Vegan after this, and then offensive lineman JT Reed.
Take coverage of the Cats with you. Download our app for your favorite mobile device today. Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Welcome back into the Bobcat Insider. Grace Lawrence joined here by head coach Brent Vegan. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, we've made it to the semifinal week. You guys are coming off a big win, second time this season over Idaho on Friday night. I want to talk about taking advantage of play, something you mentioned in your press conference. But, the failed onside kick and a fumble recovery, not just those turnovers, but, making points from them. What can you kind of speak to that?
Yeah, generally a football game is not as simple as you're going to get the ball at the 25 and have to drive the field. There's going to be opportunities that present themselves with short fields. And offensively, you got to do your best to take advantage of it. Conversely, if you get a sudden change opportunity like that on defense, you got to make sure you hold them. And, we were able to withstand the turnover that they turned into a score, and then take full advantage of the opportunities we had in that second quarter. First with the onside kick, and then followed up 2 plays later, I believe, for them on offense with that fumble. And those sequences look a lot different if you get 0 or even 3 points than if you get 7. And we were able to put up those 14 points and really separate at that point. I know we got one more touchdown before the half was done. So it was such a quick flurry, 21 points just like that, going from a 10-10 game to a 31-10 game at half. It was really hard to comprehend, but we felt really good about taking that lead in the halftime.
Yeah, just sticking with that theme a little bit more, Tommy, just his 63-yard run in that 2-minute drill. What were you seeing on the field, him just making something out of kind of nothing?
Yeah, they had taken a timeout when we were down there on offense, so that left a little time if we were able to hold them. And ultimately, it was probably Taco's punt return that they gave us a little juice there to feel like we had an opportunity. And really, with that time and our timeouts, I think we had 2 in hand. We were just trying to maybe get to the 30 so we could get a field goal opportunity. And sure enough, that first play, Tommy pulls it down, makes a bunch of guys miss, and there we are at the 2-3 yard line before we know it. So just an incredible play by him. I think he's been able to, make plays with his feet all through his career. But, some of these scrambles that he's had down the stretch have been, some of his best plays I've ever seen.
Yeah, and then talking about Adam and, how he handled the full load, almost the full load on Friday night. Just how confident were you in him going into that one, knowing he had to be the number 1?
Yeah, I think, through the course of the week, we felt like there was a chance we'd have Scott Trey, and then ultimately game day. It didn't turn out to be that way, but there's a real sense of comfort, I guess, going into it with a guy like Adam. Adam, really, if you look at the year as a whole, I mean, he's really been a starter, just like a starter. He's over 1,000 yards now. So whether we have him or Scotcher, we have them both. We have Julius in the mix. I think we have three guys that are really, top-level backs. And I think Colson, continues to bring himself along. So being able to insert him and know that he's going to make some plays. I think we felt like going in this game, whether we had Scotcher or not, we'd be able to, run the football and run it effectively.
Yeah, and then pairing that with a dominant offensive line, 200 and 280 these past two games for rushing yards. Do you think that this offensive line is really hitting their stride this playoffs?
Yeah, I think we're better now than we've been at any point in time. I think there's a real continuity that we've had all through the year. We've played six guys for quite a stretch now. Roland, JT, and Burke at that left guard, and the other four guys have been mainstays for really the bulk of the season right now. And there's experience that continues to build upon experience. The communication aspect, we've seen just about everything through the course of this season. So their ability to endure a play that doesn't work and be able to move on to the next one, to be able to come off and communicate with Coach Johnson what they're seeing and be able to figure out a path forward so we can run the football. And I think that group, physically is really continued to do things, but mentally has really continued to grow.
Yeah, now talking about the semifinals, Montana State and 3 Dakota schools, a very physical brand of football. Is this kind of how you thought the playoffs would shake out now that we go into the semifinal? Well,
I think history would generally say, physicality wins this time of year, toughness wins this time of year. And we've been trying to build our program in that direction, where we could win games, in any kind of conditions. We'd have to run the football, we'd have to stop it. And I think we're to that point, both offensively and defensively, where we've generally been able to figure out how to run it each week. And then, defensively, we've really limited run games throughout the course of the season. And they have too. The other three teams, they're probably their calling card as well. So here we are, the Final Four, all teams that probably do things in a relatively similar fashion. And, I'm thankful we're at home with this next opportunity as we go up against South Dakota.
Yeah, talking about South Dakota, it must be nice because you guys got Saturday off to watch the game. But, they forced 6 turnovers. They really got after Miles Hastings, that defensive line, that linebacker crew. What stood out most to you about South Dakota?
Well, I think playoff time, you have to be able to endure some things. They turned it over a few times, but ultimately, they were advantageous. I think they forced a quarterback who I think we have a really high opinion of in Miles Hastings into 5 interceptions. And, that is, if you'd have told me that was going to be the way that game played out, I would have thought you were crazy. So, to force 6 turnovers, to really turn that game and take those short fields and by and large be able to capitalize on those, that was really the difference in that game. And for us, our ability to protect the football has been really critical to our success. So come Saturday, we have to do that again, and we have to do everything we can to take it away from them. Certainly having a game like that would not bode well for us.
A senior class and, them gracing Bobcat Stadium one more time as a crew on Saturday. Just what have they meant to you?
Well, so much. I think it was 14 of these guys, and then Simeon was added later that year that were with us when I got the job. And, they've been with us through this 4-year stretch where our program has, I think grown. I think the expectations for our program have changed. The physical component, whether it's our facilities or just maybe how we even look on the field, I think has continued to develop. So, they've seen a lot. They've become that next group to, lay the foundation. And they've done a great job of that. So thankful for them. And so thankful that they've been able to extend this opportunity, playing 9 home games for the first time in our program's history, with a shot to go back to Frisco, Texas is what we've been after. And here we are within a week of making all that happen. So, excited for them. I know that, those guys are going to make a huge impact on the result on Saturday, and we hope to extend their careers 2 more weeks.
Yeah, thank you so much, Coach,
Absolutely.
for joining me today. Stay tuned. That kickoff is slated for 1:30 p.m. on ABC. Ty Gregorak and I will be talking about that, along with JT Reed joining us later in the show.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Welcome back into the Bobcat Insider. Grace Lawrence joined here by Ty Gregorak. And Ty, we have made it to the semifinals. The creme de la creme, it's the three Dakotas and Montana State in a game that will be won in the trenches on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's pretty cool when you just said the Final Four, three of the four Dakota schools and a Montana school. And that being said, too, Idaho just played their last game. Montana was in it. I think it's it's fascinating to see how places that don't have pro sports, don't have bigger schools or major schools with Division I athletics, how successful they've been, especially in FCS football. You're seeing it right now with the last four. South Dakota did a heck of a job. I mean, you and I did the UC Davis game, what seems like forever ago now. And I was impressed with UC Davis, just from a talent level and some of their skill positions, their quarterback, their running back, some of their defensive players. And South Dakota did a heck of a job. I mean, I think this will be a great test. I think it's a similar type team coming here. Obviously, it helps being at home. So I'm fired up to see this, though. Coach Nielsen has done an unbelievable job. 5 years ago, South Dakota was in pretty rough shape. And now they're a semifinalist team coming to the #1 seed. So it's a fascinating game and a lot of different storylines on a lot of different levels.
Yeah, I mean, you've mentioned before just the depth and really just the progress of this offensive line, this defensive line of Montana State. And talking to one of those offensive linemen, JT Reed, coming up after this.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Welcome back into the Bobcat Insider. Grace Lawrence joined here by offensive lineman JT Reed. Thanks for joining me today.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Yeah, you guys are coming off a big win against Idaho, second time this season. Just what stood out most to you in that game, one of those final few games at Bobcat Stadium for you?
I think, especially this past Idaho game, I think we did a good job of, buckling down and doing what we know how to do best, which is win football games. And I think we started off a little slow, but we ended up getting in the groove and put it on them, so that was good.
Yeah, I guess can you kind of take me through, every opposing team that comes in to Bobcat Stadium that plays you guys, they know you're going to run the ball and you're going to run it well. How do you guys continue to dominate, though, despite getting so many different looks defensively?
I think up front, our leaders in that room and Coach Al, we do a good job of keeping the main thing, and that's run off the ball and hit somebody. Good technique, fast hands, and good eyes, so yeah, I think we really just dumb it down to it comes down to doing your job and do your job every play.
And working with a stable of backs, watching Adam Jones get almost the full load but still dominate. It doesn't really matter what back you're working with. You guys give him the opportunity to dominate. Just what's that like working with so many different backs?
It's super fun, honestly, because you have a lot of different personalities in that room. You got Scotty, Adam, Jared White, Colson Kuhn. We had Julius for a little bit, but I mean, really, it doesn't matter who's back there as long as they trust us and we trust them. So.
And then what's it like working with Tommy Malott?
Oh, it's great. Tommy's, I came in with Tommy, and Tommy's always been a good guy. He's always been he's actually one of my first friends from Montana on the team, so that's pretty cool. But it's fun. It's exciting. Sometimes mid-play you'll stop and watch what he's doing, and it's like, that's crazy.
Was one of those plays the 63-yard run during the 2-minute drill? What was that like watching that?
That was crazy because it was Burke's turn to be in, and I was on the sidelines, and we called a simple pass play. Nothing was there. I'm like, okay, Tommy's gonna throw it away. Next thing you know, he's gone, and it's like, oh my, what is he doing?
It must be nice when you always have Tommy that can make something out of nothing.
Oh, yeah.
I mentioned getting so many different looks defensively. Have you ever gotten something super crazy, or just how much does that help you now in the playoffs with how much preparation you've gotten kind of from seeing different looks?
I think especially playing the Grizz, those guys over the hill, they like to do this thing that we call Star Wars, which is everything, and they're running all over the place, and it's crazy. But I think playing those guys and seeing how they just run around the field, they're not really playing defense, it's backyard football, that helps us a lot, definitely.
Yeah, the offensive line calls themselves Dondre Mafia. What's the brotherhood like? I mean, you've been here a few years of just the line.
It's actually crazy. Like going into that room when I first got here in 2020, I didn't think I was going to make lifelong friends, especially with people who are so opposite than me, just like Marcus Weir. But we come from two different sides of the country. But Marcus Weir is one of my best friends. I got guys like Perk in there, Dylan Rollins, all the guys from Montana, Burke. We got Connor Moore from Ohio. It's different. It's different than a lot of brotherhoods, and I think we love each other and we all hold each other to a high standard. So that helps.
Yeah, being an out-of-stater, how did you adapt to the Montana State culture? And does that O-line, room, does that also reflect on the entire team for the culture that you guys have?
Definitely. I think in the O-line room we have a, we're going to punch you in the face type of culture, and if you hit us, we're going to get back up and keep going. And coming out of state, especially from the Bay Area, is a little bit different. Coming out here, and there's more people in the city that I'm from than this whole state. So it's kind of, it was a little change, but once I got into the groove of things and found out, what Bobcat football is and what it means to the state, that definitely helped.
Yeah, talking about your position coach, Al Johnson, he seems to do such a good job at preparing you guys, if there needs to be a shift, preparing you guys for multiple positions. Just what makes him so good as a coach?
Honestly, Coach Al is probably the smartest coach I've ever been around. I don't think he's giving enough credit for the success of our team and, the O-line room. But Coach Al he knows the game so well, like insanely well. And he does a good job of not letting the standard drop at all. You can be an All-American or a freshman scout team guy. The standard with Coach Al never drops. And that's what I love about him.
Yeah, talking about the playoffs in specific, the trenches matter so much. Just how much, what can you speak to with that in the playoffs and the offensive line, and how you guys hope to continue to dominate the rest of the playoffs?
We really just, take it day by day, especially Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Those are our game days during the week, really. And it really comes down to, having a good week of preparation, going play by play in practice, and just, buckling down on your technique and what you've been taught to do. So.
Yeah, South Dakota seemed to do a pretty good job getting after Miles Hastings on Saturday when they played at Davis at home. Anything in specific that stood out about South Dakota that you guys are kind of game planning for this Saturday?
I wouldn't say very specific. They're just like any Missouri Valley team. They're super big, very athletic. So we'll have a lot, we'll definitely have our hands full, but it'll be nice.
Yeah, I'm curious, I guess, playing on a Friday, obviously when you guys get that note Saturday night, it's a quick turnaround. But then to now have the extra day of rest after winning, was that nice? What was that like this weekend?
That was so nice. Especially for me, an old guy who has an old body, it definitely was nice. It was nice to just relax and kick your feet up for a little bit and, take yourself away. But yeah, it was super nice, but now it's time to go. So.
Yeah, you guys have had pretty insane playoff crowds, especially when you look at the numbers that, the Dakota States were pulling in. You guys 8,000 more fans. What kind of home field advantage do you hope happens on Saturday?
I hope that we have, the same home field advantage we've had all year. I think our fans do a great job of showing out for us, and, they show up and support us, and you can tell that, they want to be there. They're involved with us. They care about us. So, yeah, I hope we get that same crowd we had Friday night because it was rocking.
Yeah, you're a part of a very tight-knit senior class, and it's going to be the last time the senior class graces Bobcat Stadium on Saturday. Yep. What are the emotions like? You guys don't seem to have an issue kind of controlling them and putting that game face on, but just what's this final game at home going to mean to you guys?
Me personally, I think this game means a lot to me. I've been through a lot here at MSU, and, from Pete's Hill to winning Cat Grizz in 2022 at College Game Day. I think it'll be fun, it'll be nice, but I have no clue what emotions will be, pouring out of me come game time.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's another 1-0 week for you guys.
Yeah.
There's one more stop between you guys and Frisco. The road ran through Bozeman, and it comes to a halt here. So best of luck on Saturday. Again, that game kicks off at 1:30 p.m. on ABC. Stay tuned because Ty Gregorak and I will be previewing that coming up.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Bobcat Insider. Grace Lawrence here with Ty Gregorak. A big semifinal matchup, more history to be made that could be made with this Montana State crew going 15-0 possibly on Saturday. What's your key to this game?
Well, I think we saw it last week against Idaho, right? If you can steal a possession or two, that's what Coach Eck was trying to do with the surprise onside kick. But you get the ball back in Tommy Malot's hands and some of the skill for that Bobcat offense. It's going to be a tough day if they can steal a couple possessions. I do think special teams somehow, some way will play a part. Whether it's a big Taco Dollar return or that special teams plays like that can change the momentum of any game, no matter what's going on, and then obviously it all starts up front. Offensive line, defensive line, for both. Both have to play well, and the Missouri Valley, that brand of football, that brand of football that they play in the Missouri Valley, they play over here in Bozeman too. So I think that the fronts definitely will have an impact in the outcome of the game.
I'm so excited to see Don Joy Mafia take that Bobcat Stadium for one more time in 2024. That 12th man of Bobcat Stadium is going to be key as well. Kickoff slated for 1:30 p.m. on ABC. For Ty Gregorak, I'm Grace Lawrence. Thanks for joining us on the Bobcat Insider.